seems like as the year gets on, the louder the cheers, so we'll see how we go by the end. Good evening guests, staff, parents and Parkdale Secondary College 2011 Valedictorians. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the way in which you have conducted yourselves today and yesterday, and I'd also just like to mention that the glitter in my hair is not there by design. The result of a Cassie Simon's glitter bomb. Thanks, Cassie. Everyone looked great today. Well, your costumes did. Well, most of them did. Nothing else. I did admire the bravery of the boys wearing the dresses, the stockings and the heels. Adrian Pace needs to learn how to sit like a lady. Very easy to get carried away with celebrations, and you've been a credit to the school and yourselves. Only small pranks have been found so far. Apparently a Cash has lost a dog. Looks a bit like Jodie, I'm not sure about that, but the posters are around. I was amongst a number of staff who were on the morning detention list this morning. Thank you very much. And probably my favourite was the thoughtful gift given to me this morning by Laura, the nail polish remover and makeup wipes. I just wanted to replace all the ones that she'd have to use this year to take off a nail polish, so thanks Laura. Today is a day of mixed emotions. Today we celebrate the completion of secondary schooling of 142 young adults ready to move into the next phases of their lives and say goodbye to a special group of Parkdale students. I first came across this group of students when they began Year 7 at Parkdale. I was given the teaching allotment from hell. It happened to include 6 classes of Year 7 IT. A lot of them. Little did I know that when I met those little, cute, innocent, sweet young people, they turned into not so little, not so cute, definitely not so innocent, and extremely moody Year 12 students. And that I'd end up with the pleasure of coordinating them. I must admit, at the beginning of the year, I did have some trepidation on taking on the role. I'd never heard of a year level going through quite so many coordinators before. Mr Van Marnen, Miss Barrowell, Miss Pav, Miss Norton, Miss Kirk, Mr Jennison, Mr Burrell, Mr Van Pelt, and now myself. All names of very respected staff members. It wasn't until I spoke to each and every one of them, except for Mr Van Marnen, I haven't seen him for a while, but until I spoke to the rest of them, that they said that they would more than happily step back into the role given the opportunity. All of these people have played a very big part in assisting you through your schooling, and I think it's appropriate to put your hands together now in applause to recognise them and thank them for it. This has been a challenging year in many ways for our Year 12 students. Studying has gotten in the way of such important events as choosing the right formal attire, organising 18s and getting enough hours of driving to get their Ps. To say that it's been a big year is an understatement. Mr McMahon has constantly reminded our students throughout this time, this is certainly the most intense year of study that you have ever faced and will probably ever face. There has been laughter and tears, but the less said about me the better. In all seriousness, it is a very difficult time to be a student, and it has made me very proud to see the way you have responded to this pressure and supported each other. Right from the word go, it was evident that we were dealing with a very special group of students. Our year began in November of 2010 with Michael Cockney turning up nice and early on the first day of transition week in full school uniform. He asked me where he was meant to go. The answer was home. Year 12 didn't start till Friday. If Michael's eagerness was anything to go by, we're in for a very special year. Our first big event was the Year 12 camp. Given that I'd been so impressed with the start to the year, I figured that this would have to be the smoothest camp ever run. It all started well with the camp leader telling our students to become possessed, and rather than go shopping for jeans. Now parents, I know that it might sound like you spent $300 on a lesson that your student was probably pretty comfortable with. I do assure you there was a context and appropriate message to do with determination. From here the camp was pretty quiet. I mean, a couple of things happened that are worth mentioning. Like Luke the Recce celebrated his 18th birthday. Big cake, happy birthday sung by the year level. Following day, dislocated his knee while crawling out of the tunnel. Spent an hour and a half lying in a swamp waiting for an ambulance. Great birthday. And Cassie, Another Cassie story. After yelling at the top of her voice, "Mr. Tuck, this is the best camp ever." Day after, taken to hospital. So far, not so good. The boys in cabin 6. Yeah, having late night conversations, not realising that I was hiding outside. Heard every word. Won't be repeating them now, it's not appropriate. But I assure you, I scared the living daylights out of them when I stormed in their room. And we can't let Miss Sainsbury off the hook, of course. Firstly, couldn't find the car keys. Realised the laptop was missing. After turning the camp inside out, searched students' things. Not that we thought that you took it, we kept saying that. Just in case. Decided someone must have come onto the property and stolen it. Miss Sainsbury found both the keys and the laptop in a drawer in a room. We will give it to her, it was a hidden drawer, but she did manage to find it to put them in. Next on our calendar was the Year 12 formal. Our students looked resplendent in their crisp suits and elegant dresses. The night started well with me having to take a cockroach that one of the boys caught on the table outside. But it went on to be a great night from there with more students on the dance floor than ever before. All the preparations were well worth it, with only Mr. VP and Mr. Gidders taking it too far with their air guitar routine. Never again. With formal and camp passing us by, we were able to set about with the serious business of getting down to study. For VCE students, SACs were coming thick and fast, and mid-year exams were looming, while our VCAL students were busy with work requirements such as working with Scope and organising big community events and art shows. A large number of students began using the Senior Centre after school hours. Parents Association significantly reduced the profit margin of the local fish and chip shop by providing fruit for students who were studying after school. The bananas were always hot property. I'm not sure if this was to eat or sell on the black market for food. But we did appreciate it, and thank you very much. While camp and formal were some of our most memorable occasions, school also provided us with plenty of others. Far from a boring 6 hours every day, there was always something special to perk up our weeks. The Wednesday program provided me with an opportunity to pass on my wisdom and tips. I realised that this was a clear success when a student, I think it was Matt Fuccio, from memory, saw me armed with an interactive whiteboard and said, "Loud enough for me to hear, I'm sure. Not another one of Mr. Tuck's presentations. I've had enough of them." Luckily, this was around August, so I think that by then they probably had enough. There were plenty of other things for us to laugh at, like the boy who, doing the right thing, staying back after school, studying hard, yelped exceptionally loudly, jumped to his feet, started slapping his thigh, squeezing the side of his pants as hard as he could. I assumed he was a bit frustrated with the work Mr. Jennison had set him for biology, but when I rushed out and asked him what was wrong, he responded, "I've got a bug in my pants." I actually told him to go into my storeroom and check. A couple of minutes later, he walked out a little sheepish. Said, "Mr. Tuck, I need to buy some new headphones." You all got it, I was not still behind. I said, what are you talking about? He had a little hole in his pocket, the headphones had slipped through, managed to mash it. And of course, I did promise Rowan I wouldn't mention his name. There was also Angus, one of my favourites, always there with a dry remark. When we attended the TIS, Tertiary Information Session Day, all the universities and TAFE put a display on to show us where our futures might head. And I asked him if he found what he needed, and he looked up to me seriously and he said, "No, Mr. Tuck, have you seen the Centrelink display?" Aspiration.